And for more on this, we're delighted to be joined over the telephone by our guest this morning, Dr. Hassan Waguih, our international relations expert. Dr. Hassan, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning to you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time this morning. Now, doctor, let's talk a bit about some of the conditions that returning families are finding in southern Lebanon after the ceasefire between Hezbollah and Israel. Lots of people are returning home or attempting to go back home, however, really finding a lot of destruction, unlivable homes, as well as no infrastructure really to support any livelihood.
Yeah, actually, again, it is a very sad situation.
Yes.
Where civilian targets were targeted and make life more difficult for people, for civilian people, violating human rights in that respect, of course. And I think that the joy that you can see is a temporal one, and it's a fragile situation. And I think that the shelling of Lebanon was very, very received in a very angry tone all over the world, because
Absolutely.
What happened was terrible. And I think let us seek the root of the reaction through President Trump's stance when he wrote this. I consider it a beautiful tweet when he said the United States of America will separately work with Lebanon and deal with the Hezbollah situation in an appropriate manner. Israel will not be bombing Lebanon any longer.
Yes.
They are prohibited, and he wrote that with capital letters, from doing so by the USA, and he said enough is enough, thank you. Also, he said, I hope Hezbollah acts nicely and well during this important period of time.
Yes.
It will be great moment, and they put great with capital also, for them if they do. No more killing. Must finally have peace. Thank
Dr.
you
Hassan, do you
for your
see
attention.
this? Yes, Doctor, do you see this as a clear indication of the position of the United States, and does it give you hope that the ceasefire will hold?
Yes, I think so. I think this is a reflection, not in the inner feeling of President Trump, who came up with a moment of truth this time. I believe that I can support what he said. Enough is enough. We can raise all over the world this statement by him. Enough is enough, really. And we need peace. We need stability. We need justice to be established. We need international rules, international laws to rule the world. I think this is a moment of truth, and it reflects also the weakness of the Israeli narrative inside the United States itself. This was a reflection of a great shake to the Israeli narrative inside the United States, whether people are Democratic or Republican. All of them feel like that. The Congress said that we are supposed to stop the misuse of arms in Israel and to stop sending weapons. Europe, Giorgia Meloni took the decision. Spain took the decision. I think that this tweet is very important,
Yes.
not only in this context, but for the larger context. And I congratulate the American president if he continues to implement what is inside this discourse.
Yes, absolutely. Now, Dr. Hassan, let's talk a bit about some of the dangers that are facing the Lebanese citizens and civilians upon their return. There were reports of unexploded ordnance as well as infrastructural damage, which makes the buildings not safe for them to re-inhabit, etc. What do you see the scale of displacement and humanitarian need specifically after the conflict?
Actually, it showed that the Lebanese people are great people. And unfortunately, they are suffering a great deal of calamities. The bombing make people displaced from the south to the north. But if you can listen to the stories over there, where how people cemented the relation with each other, they try to absorb that situation. You can feel that those people are proud, and those people really their country to be sovereign, and they tolerated something very difficult for anyone.
Absolutely. Dr. Hassan, let's talk a bit about the role of some of the organizations, international organizations like the United Nations, the International Committee of the Red Cross, for example, and other international communities and countries, the role they can play specifically in providing relief efforts and reconstruction efforts for these areas.
Yes, I think this should be happening, of course. But the most important thing is that the fragile situation, which, you know, someone like Nabi Berri, the head of the parliament in Lebanon, said, I hope that people will not return very soon till everything cleared up, because there is a great deal of fear that there is another bombing, there is another shelling, there is another opening, breaking out of hostilities. You know, everything is fine, but the Israelis are insisting on staying there. There is no one good sign of withdrawing their forces from south of Lebanon so far. So I hope that negotiation would lead to something reasonable for the Lebanese people.
Indeed, Dr. Hassan, is enough humanitarian aid reaching some of the most affected areas, or are there still obstacles and the presence of the military limiting access of humanitarian aid? Of course, these people returning to their homes not only need aid, they need reconstruction and rebuilding materials as well to be delivered.
Unfortunately, when war broke out, destruction is far more greater than the aid needed to repair the situation.
Yes. Tell me, Doctor, in your opinion, how do you see the prospects for reconstruction? Is it upcoming anytime soon? Who is likely to fund it, in your opinion? Can the international community play a proactive role in this regard?
Actually, it is premature to talk about this.
Right.
The most important thing is that we can find successful negotiation. Sovereignty of Lebanon is restored. Hopefully, there is fruitful results. When there is fruitful results, because everything is fragile. In one moment, everything shelling could be resumed from here or there. We don't know, and this is the dangerous situation. But I think the moment Lebanon would have its hand on its territories and have sovereignty back, I think, and one country, one state, not militias doing whatever they want, when and how they do it. I hope if at this particular moment we can calculate what is needed for repairing what happened.
Absolutely. Finally, Doctor, the presence of the military forces in certain areas, even though civilians are choosing to return, driven by necessity or, of course, as you said, attachment to their land, their homes, etc. Do you see this uncertainty, shaking the foundation for the ceasefire to hold this time around? And do you think, it could, renewed fighting could trigger another wave of displacement?
Actually, the complexity of the files make this fragile, make this uncertain. For instance, the issue of disarming a faction that has really defended its land. No matter you like Iran, you hate Iran, you like Hamas, there is an American firm that mentioned something very important. He said Hamas and Hezbollah came as a reaction to a brutal occupation. There was nothing called Hezbollah, there was nothing called Hamas, but they came as a reaction. No matter we like them, we hate them, we evaluate them that way or another. No, the root of the problem is the brutal occupation.
Absolutely right. I'm going to have to leave it at that. We've run out of time. I'd like to thank you very, very much, Dr. Hassan Waguih, our international relations expert. Thank you, sir, for your time and your insight and for joining us this morning on The Breakfast Show. Ladies and gentlemen, a short break and we'll be back for more. Do stay tuned.